Hello, hello. It's Pastor Womack here. I promised you guys we would do a rewind for the year. We'll cover our top 9 messages of the year, our most popular sermons and impactful. I want to just do a rewind, cover those in 5 or 6 minutes or so, give you guys some questions to go along with that to encourage you, inspire you, remind you, just in case you missed a week. And our top sermon for 2024 was When God Seems to Trash Your Treasure. In 1 Kings chapter 17, we talk about the widow at Zarephath. The prophet came to her and said, "Hey, we need your last meal, your last supper." And she says, "Look, my boy is about to die. I don't have anything to give you. We're going to eat our last meal, then we're going to die." And he basically had asked for that meal, and she gave it to him. And so she gave it to him. We used the illustration, if you remember, of the lemon. And when life gives you lemonades, make it lemons. And what do you do when God asks for your last lemon? And we said that when you give God your last, he will give you his best. Well, then the next paragraph in that same story in 1 Kings 17 talks about how now her son has gotten sick. And so now her son is sick, her son's about to die. She's questioning, "Prophet, why did you come here? I did what you asked me to do, and now my son is dying." And so what do you do when it seems that God has trashed your treasure? What do you do when you say, "Well, I have obeyed God, I've served God, I've worshiped God, I've sacrificed for God, I've given my last to God, and God has still allowed me to be in an unlikely, unwarranted, and unwanted situation"? And so real briefly, how do you manage that? How do you deal with that? Number one, you got to make sure you remember God's record in your life. What all has God done in your life? What is God's resume in your life? What is the faithfulness of God in your life? When facing new challenge, reflects on God's track record of provision and deliverance in your life. Remember God's past faithfulness so you can be faithful in the present and trust he'll be faithful as well. Number two, you've got to reframe your interpretation of a dilemma. When faced with hardship, reframe your thinking to see your dilemma not as God's punishment, but as God's opportunity for his glory in your life. So when things are sad, when things are frustrating, when things don't work out the way you want them to do, instead of saying, "Why is God punishing me? Why has God abandoned me?" Say, "Man, what is God up to? What does God want to do with this moment? And what does God want to do in this moment?" Number one, remember God's record in your life. Number two, reframe your interpretation of a dilemma. Number three, release your dilemma to God. In that passage, the prophet had said, "Well, give me your son." Imagine this now. You obeyed this cat who told you to give your last, and you gave your last expecting God's best, but now what you're experiencing seems to be God's worst. Your son is sick, he's not doing well. That same prophet says, "Give me your son." And so the question becomes, are you willing to release your most daunting situations to God after trusting God to do what's best? Sometimes we're like, "You know what? I can't trust God." We wouldn't say that, but we think that. "You know what? I trusted God with my resources. I trusted God with my spouse. I trusted God with my relationship. I trusted God for a job. And you know what? God didn't show up." We wouldn't say that publicly, but we'll say it privately. And so now she's being asked, "You know what? My son's about to die. And I want to know now, can I trust you?" You know what? She entrusts her son to God. What she did, here's the application. We must release control over our dilemmas, entrusting them to God, even when we don't understand his plan. Surrender opens the door for his miraculous intervention. My good friend, one of my mentors, Pastor Sam Davis, he's retired now, Pastor Dr. Sam Davis. He says, your only contribution to God's next miracle in your life is faith. Your only contribution to God's next miracle in your life is faith. Will you release it by faith to God? And number four, rejoice at the faithfulness of God. When God moves in your life, take time to rejoice and acknowledge his faithfulness. Let his intervention deepen your trust and inspire others. Hey guys, that's it, guys. That's number one. of our Divine Nine, our top 9 messages for this year when God seems to trash your treasure. Hey, go check out the whole message. God loves you. May God keep you. May you grow closer to Him in the end of this season. We hope to see you at worship this Sunday. Hope to see you at our New Year's Eve service. And guys, we hope that you will grow deeper in your relationship with God. Hey guys, we love you. We want to serve you. Look us up, come partner with us, and serve the Lord with us. God bless.